Hello. So the next few videos are going to be of more interest to the players, as we're going to go through, how to submit good submissions for Pokestops and how to review some submissions to make sure that, they get through the process quickly and we can get more Pokestops as quickly as we can. So it's going to be divided into 2 or 3 parts depending on how much information there's going to be. And I hope it really helps persons make good submissions so that people will accept the submissions, and also so people know how to best review Pokestop submissions. So I hope you guys enjoy the videos. I hope it's not too much information, and good luck with your reviewing. Okay, so here we have the showcase area, which showcases new Pokestops or waypoints, as it were, that are in the game. And it shows you who submitted them and where they are so that you can find them if you want, right? So this one is interesting. You would, if anyone goes down to the Bay Street area, you would expect to see this Pokestop, but it's not going to be in the game because of where it's located. Where it's located is actually in a cell that already has a Pokestop. So that's why it's not going to show up in the game, and we're going to talk more about that a little later. Now, for those who are new to submitting or accepting Pokestops, you go through the initial test basically, but if you want to double check, you can check here, and you can see all of the examples of what makes a good waypoint or Pokestop. In our case, you have the eligibility criteria, the acceptance criteria, the rejection criteria, and basically guidelines on what you should put into your submission. So I do recommend you read up on these before you start reviewing or even submitting Pokestops, right? So what I'm going to go through now before we go to the review is we're going to go through nominations that I made that have been successful and unsuccessful and say why they were good or bad nominations. Alright, so let's start from the bottom. So the first thing that I ever submitted back in November of 2019 was the Errol Walton Barrow Memorial, right? And so you can see this is the image I used, this is the description: a memorial erected on Errol Barrow Day in 2018 to remember the first Prime Minister of Barbados. That is a very good basic description. The location, can we see it? Right, there it is. So when people were reviewing, you would see the location pinned there. If you zoom in, you would have seen it here. And this was my supplementing information. Now, because it was one of my first, I didn't have the best supplemental information. I have the site is easy and safe access and in a hotspot for Pokemon activity. Parking lot right next to the memorial where persons can park cars so you can get out, or you can play safely from your car if that's what you do. Now you'll see the grid here. If you go into your Wayfarer, you might not notice the grid, and that is because I've recently installed Wayfarer Plus plugin to my browser, and I recommend you do that as well because you will see here the cells that come up. So these cells are the S14 cells that make up an area, and these cells, and these green ones here now, are the S17 cells. And so the S17 cells are what makes individual Pokestops show up. So for example, you'll see here this one is smack dab in the middle of it. There would be another Pokestop here with the other sign. I can't remember what it is. I think Welcome to Carlisle Bay, maybe. and then there is a Pebbles Beach Pokestop somewhere around here in one of these cells, right? But again, we just spoke just now about the library that didn't get accepted, so that is going to be in this cell, and we already have the church sign Pokestop in this cell already, so that's why it's not going to show up. The police boy and girls club is here, so we have the image here, so you can see on the image what it is. I said the building used to help young people build skills and also has a basketball court on property for recreational purposes. And then you can see it here. This area has a very good Google map view, and then a bigger view to show that there is a sidewalk that you can stay off the road on. So I have, even though next to a busy road, safe to access due to sidewalk. Is regularly utilized by, that should be young people, and the Pokestop might encourage more use of the facility. However, generally these days I do not include any information about whether the area will be good for Pokemon play or not. What is really most important is why it makes a good waypoint and not the fact that we need Pokestops in the area. Alright, so we have Beckles Road Heritage Sign. I have Beckles Road is a UNESCO World Heritage Site as a very basic description. I could have gone into more, could have utilized some information that was on here as well into the description. Again, we can see where I submitted it. And this gives you the satellite view. And then my supplemental information, I have the picture that shows that the sign is on a sidewalk that you can access safely, and I have helped trainers understand the historical importance of the area. So that's something that you could always add in. Why is it important? Why is it a good submission? Then I submitted the Sea Turtle mural. So I have commissioned by the Sea Turtle Project to raise awareness about the sea turtle population that nests along the boardwalk. The hotline is available on the mural so people can call if they see a sea turtle. Generally, you should not upload videos with personal information, but this is not really personal information. This is good information to have. Also, you can not really see it within the picture. It's kind of small, but try to avoid having images that have personal information in it, like phone numbers. And then my supplemental information, it shows the boardwalk with the mural next to the boardwalk that people can access it safely, and I have that it raises awareness about the sea turtle population as well as provides a number for the hotline that persons can call if they see a sea turtle. So that's a better supplemental information than saying, please give me Pokestops. So also within the Wayfarer Plus, you can see how people voted on your nominations. So I have my nomination stats: accepted 23 out of my 49, 5 of them were rejected. I withdraw 2 of them because I realized that they were already submitted. So this one I had submitted on someone else's account before, and then I realized that it had got accepted shortly after I had submitted it again, so I withdrew it, and I had another one that I withdrew up here. The same thing with this one. I had submitted this and then I got accepted. Someone else had submitted it, so I withdrew it. Alright, so I have currently 10 in voting with 0 of them upgraded. And my acceptance ratio is 1 to 0.2. I don't really know what that means. I have 4 nominations available to me right now that I can make. So yeah. And look, it tells me when my 3 nominations will be available to me on Valentine's Day. So that's additional information you would not normally get with without the Wayfarer plugin, the Wayfarer Plus plugin. So these that have not been accepted down here were kind of a long shot because we already had the National Gymnasium already submitted. So this was kind of me just trying to cheekily get in additional stops around the gymnasium, and that's before I realized that all of the public fitness structures around the gymnasium would be applicable, or else I would have submitted those. I kind of upgraded them, which was a bit silly to do. Um, but yeah, so for example, I put the description is just the north entrance of the gymnasium, and then I have building contains a gym, basketball and netball courts, and hosts a variety entertainment shows, one of 4 entrances. To see if anyone would accept them. They weren't accepted, not surprised. They really shouldn't have been, so that's fine. Then we have though this next one here that was strange to be not accepted. I don't know if it was just Niantic being silly, but this should have been a perfectly good nomination. It's a plaque donated by Barclays Bank to mark the independence of Barbados. And then I have a view of the park and the wide open space with the waypoint in. So I don't know why it got rejected, but it did, and I just think it was because it got rejected like 2 weeks after it went to voting, which at that time was really quick, and so it was a bit weird. Dread Hop Brewery, I don't know why this didn't get accepted. It should have been because it's a local brewery unique to Barbados, includes a bar that serves food. So it's a unique hotspot in Barbados. I've shown that there's plenty open space. So I think this should have been accepted, but it was not. So yeah. But I know that they are now doing a piece of art inside, so we could always submit that instead. So yeah, so those are some examples. Churches should always be nominated and accepted unless they're very poor nominations, or unless you really cannot tell that this is the location of this church. So this church is interesting because it just looks like a house, right? So what I did in my supplemental or information was take a picture of the fact that it has some sort of sign, even though it's tiny, and this sign can be seen here in the main picture. So I said here, plenty of space to park, stop or walk. Church has no official signage, so supporting photo is of what signage they have, as that should be proof that this building is a church. So you see that there. Also though, I believe that is this map going to show it? Maybe not this map. This map might show it. No, it doesn't show it either. It has it out here, it seems, for some reason. Is this the same one? Yeah. But this is definitely the building here. I promise. I promise you this is the building. Of course, any reviewers who don't know the area would be very confused as to why this is not the area, but trust me, this is the church. So that just, comes up with dilemmas on why it's also important to make sure that your supplemental information can help you pinpoint where an object is. So for example, if I took another supporting photo of this area showing this driveway, then people are more likely to be inclined to believe that this is the correct location as opposed to this building here. It would have to be a wide angle shot, so I would basically, if I stood like here and took a picture this way with the building in it so that they could see this building still as well as this area, that would help. And I would recommend that when you're putting the pin down and you notice that there's no indication or really obvious indication that this object is here, try and take an image, a supporting image that will help you be able to say, well, look, you can see this thing from the map, and I got a picture of this other item and the waypoint in my supporting image to show you that the location is correct. So it depends on what supporting information you need to determine or to supplement, sorry, your your nomination. And so here, the Pride of Barbados mural. Murals are interesting because you obviously can't really see them from a map. But this one has a street view. So if we go down the street view, we should be able to see the mural right there. Right? So there we go. So now that we've done that, why don't we do some... Actually, let me highlight some other things that I would have submitted. So things that I submitted that can be Pokestops are obviously churches, educational and historical signs, embassies. We have the Embassy of Argentina. We have there's another embassy. Oh Lord, I can't remember what it is right now. But there's a couple other embassies that we have nominated. The Canadian Embassy as well. So yeah, so they are applicable. Little public libraries. If you come across this one, you won't right now because it's in queue. But I have a close shot of the sign, and then in my supporting information, you can see the National Library Service and this open parking lot here, which should help you determine that it is in the correct location. This building is correct because you can see the parking lot here in comparison to the building from the angle, if you're good with maps and angles. Ooh, I don't know what I'm trying to do here. There we go. So yeah, so that's a live example of how to show a location of an item with supporting information there. Basketball court, so this is the same place next to the little library that I submitted. I made sure that it, as you see, it's in its own cell because I would have submitted the library here in this cell. But as you see, there is it doubles as a basketball court, so that can be submitted. I've submitted the British High Commission, the water pond in front of the Frank Walcott building, as it's a man-made water feature that can be submitted. Gazebos, granted this is spelled wrong. Ooh, I can correct this because it is not in voting yet. There we go, corrected. Ooh, wait. Something else needed correcting. Gazebo. Apparently, I don't know how to spell gazebo. Right. So you have an opportunity to correct your errors before it goes into voting as well. Play parks can be submitted. Public facilities can be submitted. Recreational parks not parks, but fields can be submitted. They're along the same lines as the basketball courts. Pavilions on fields can be submitted. My only thing about this is that I wouldn't necessarily submit a pavilion and a field. I don't see why you can't. If we zoom in here, there's obviously other cells that you could submit the field in. If anyone does submit the field in Queen's Park, make sure it's in the middle of the field, because I have submitted something that's in this area, and I think it's still waiting to be put into voting. And then I've also submitted the drawbridge in Bridgetown, which is a historical bridge of Bridgetown. And even though actually, let's go back to the bridge. Even though the tower is submitted, that's obviously separate from the bridge itself, which I've made the submission in this cell, as the tower is in this cell. So yes, and I'll show you how to view cells when you're doing submissions later as well.